Hello and welcome to Just a Girl and Her Firefighter. I'm Kristi Hilmer, your host. Grab your favorite drink, whether it's coffee, fizz, or maybe something else, and let's dive into the wild, wonderful world of first responder life. We are here to swap stories, share laughs, and tackle those "did that just really happen?" moments. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just figuring this all out, this is the place for you. So kick back, get comfy, and let's have some fun. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode. If you haven't listened to it already, you're going to want to pop back over and listen to last week's Firefighter Fenton episode, part 1, because we are continuing the conversation today, and this will be the second half of it. Last week, we got to talk with them and they introduced themselves and we got to learn where the mustache came from, what his first name is, and meet his beautiful wife, Stephanie. So in that, they got to share about a really difficult time in their relationship and in their kind of fire journey and what they really struggled. So today we get to finish that conversation and hear what they chose, how it affected them, and then really what happened after they made their decision. Plus, we get to have some rapid fire questions and some really fun trivia of things that we probably didn't know before and learn some really, really valuable lessons. So join me as we jump back in the conversation and let's go.
And it did provide like a huge overtime chunk for us every year. But when we finally kind of got to that breaking point, I mean, we even like his parents even had a sit down dinner meeting with us, and they didn't even know the full extent of, all the things we and he were juggling, but they just could even just tell from an outsider's perspective, like you need to kind of reset your priorities. And so it was really hard, but he ended up giving up PIO. One, it was hard for him to kind of let go of that baby and give that job to someone else who didn't have any experience. But for two, it was scary to let go of that huge overtime. It was like huge.
Yeah, we took a $15,000 pay cut
for us. And
that's not a little amount.
Yeah.
But realizing, what dollar amount is worth it for us to have a healthy home life, and remembering that this isn't our life. Yes, it's his job, and a lot of our life revolves around it, but it's not our life. It's not what we build everything upon, but it really had been taking over. And so that was a huge struggle to look at the plate and everything he had on it and to be able to act some things and say no to some things. And I think we're much better for it. And then other opportunities arose, and then social media kind of took off more and he started being more involved with the fire department coffee company, which was a huge blessing, and not anything he could have done if he still had all the other stuff. So
it's really cool when and like when you see one door close and then you have to have faith that God's going to provide another door, and it's usually a better door that we just don't know and we have to let go. We went through an experience like that. My husband did a ton of overtime. Like he was a medic before he was a firefighter, and he had just worked a ton. All the kids were like 5 and under, so very little. I was exhausted, he was exhausted, and we actually went through a major wildfire. So we were a part of the campfire up in Paradise, California. And so he worked that fire. I had the kids, we evacuated, and it was almost like God had to take everything, like, let's reset. And what are your priorities? Like, what is it that you want to focus on? And it really hit him in particular. He was like, why am I doing this much overtime? Like, you feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Like responsible, and like it's your duty, to be there at the fire station, all these different things, help the community. And he was like, why am I doing that? Like, yes, help, but family is the number one. So hopefully people don't have to go through that drastic of an experience, but
no, it definitely sometimes need a hard reset for sure. And that was, I can remember exactly where we were at when it was like, okay, this has got to change. It's just, we work in the world of things happen, and things always happen, and they happen at the worst times. And like she said, it never failed. We'd be on vacation, it'd be holidays. I mean, like Christmas Day, and there's a massive trauma on the freeway, and I gotta step away, and I'm talking to the media, and I'm sending emails, and I'm doing this whole thing. And we were up in up in northern Arizona at a cabin. Some family friends have a cabin that we go up to, and we were up there, and it was like a snow trip. We were hanging out, and we were, I don't even remember, playing a game or doing something fun with the kids. Everybody's laughing, and then there was a big swift water rescue deal going on, flash flood deal. I had to go in the kitchen and start fielding phone calls, and and doing the whole PIO song and dance thing, and just pulls you out of that moment. And she was like, what are you doing? And like normally, and that was like the first time where I had really heard her like snap at me, like, what the heck are you doing? Like, we are up here as a family, and what are you doing? Like, and I'm like, like, this is my job. Like, what the heck? And then I had just noticed more recently, kids are being kids. They're gonna be kids, and I would snap at them, because I'm on the phone and it's just like, really, I'm snapping at my kid because they're just being 3 or 4, or however old they were, so I can talk to this media guy who right now we're heroes, but in the next breath, at the other side of his mouth, if we're going to be, something else. Like, I'm yelling, I'm like snapping at my kid because I want to talk to this guy. Like, no, I don't want to talk to you. Hang up and go be dad, And it was like in that moment where I was like, we had a talk, and I was like, I'm done. I'm over it. And I went right to my ops chief, who I direct reported to, and he was, I got to give it to him because he's the one that I got the program from. And I said, hey, it's got to change. I was like, it's affecting my personal life. And he was like, and he has had some unfortunate things in his personal family life, divorces and things like that. And he was like, whatever we got to do, let's make it happen, because that's the most important thing. And he said, awesome. He's like, if you want to give it up right now and drop it in my lap right now, we can do that. He's like, I'm asking you that you don't. He's like, if you could at least give me 30, 60, 90 days. But if you need to drop it right now, go ahead. And I was like,
yeah, just drop it.
Yeah. and in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I was like, I'll give you 60 days. And of course, the 60 days, they drug to 90. And then at 90, I was like, and they drug it to 90. And at 90, I was like, okay, I gave you 60. Here we are at 90. Hard stop. I don't care. Like, it's not fully transitioned, and the next guy's not fully trained, but I don't care. So see you later. And I keep saying nothing.
Well, the harsh truth is you're replaceable.
Oh yeah.
As much as you love the job, and as much as you do so much there, they can replace you. And when you retire, nobody will remember you. I mean, maybe you, because you got videos on the internet, but that's the harsh truth. Like, guys marry the job and they give everything to it, and what does it give you back in the end?
Well, they give the job everything, and the job doesn't give anything back. I mean, it gives you a paycheck, but it will take everything from you. It'll take your family. It'll take your mental health. It'll take your physical health. And then, like you said, and then the next applicant's going to walk through the door, who's raring to go, and they're going to interview, and they're going to get the job. And and we got to experience that. And I think that was something that played very heavily in my mind through all of this was, like she said, I felt a lot of pressure to provide for our family. She wasn't bedside nursing anymore post-COVID. And I was like, all right, I've got to make this. And she'd say, like, we're okay. Like, we need you. We don't need money. We need you. And I'm like,
we can make it work.
Yeah. And that was helpful. It was like profound for me. Which, in hindsight, it seems like, duh, idiot. Like, that's not that, that's low hanging fruit. But, in the moment, it's like, no, I've got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And like, I can't giving up $15,000 a year. That's irresponsible. But it was like what I gave up in, money, we gained as a family and quality of life. And it was really, really good for us. But we also had a stint there where, I mean, it's just, we've had a lot of guys die, and just very random ways, like, and a lot for
how small
for the side. We have 150 guys, and 10 people I'm like, that's a lot. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we've had, and two of them were in the same year, 11 months apart. One of them was one of my really good friends, and then the other one was my
Wow.
captain. And it was just crazy. And so there was a lot, and just personal friends too. In the same 2017 was a horrible year, but it's funny I said that in 2021. So still just put my nose down for 4 more years until I finally got beat over the head enough. It was like, hey, idiot, stop doing this. You're killing yourself and your family.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like she said it, I say it all the time, and it feels like it feels like a lone man on an island sometimes in this space of the firefighter culture and the firefighter world. I'm the funny firefighter guy, but I'm a real guy. I'm a normal guy. I'm a firefighter. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm all these things. But I married Stephanie, and I'm my kid's father, and I'm very proud to be a firefighter. I've been doing it for over 20 years, and I love it. But at its base, it is just what I do for money. I'm completely replaceable. It is a job. It's a great job, but it is a job. But it's not who I am, and where and I feel like the narrative is flipped on its head in that it's no, it's a calling. It's some people may feel called to do it. Some people, it is a brotherhood. There is a brotherhood for sure, absolutely. But you don't. After the job goes away, where does that go? When you have a career, when your foundation as a person, or your identity as a person, as a firefighter, and then you have a career-ending injury, or you have all these things, then what happens? What are you left with? And if you've given everything to that, and your family is also done with you because you've basically chosen the job over your family, now what are you left with? And then you see the increase in the substance abuse and suicide rates and divorce rates and all these things. And I'm not saying, I'm not a therapist, I don't have all the answers, but that's just kind of how I see it, and that's my take on it. And I feel like, not that I'm done something earth shattering, or I've figured it out, but for me, this is a much better way of doing it, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
then what advice would you give new people? So let's say there's, new firefighters or new married couples, or they're dating now, kind of hindsight, because I think that that's one of the goals of this podcast, is one community. Like, I think we all need to hear the stories from each other of success and struggle, and that this life can be lived well, and then it doesn't have to be everything. But then also to help give advice to the people that are new, that are coming in, like, learn from us. This is what we messed up on. This is what we wish we'd done different. What advice would you both give to somebody like that?
For me, because I've said it, I've been in the academies as a mentor before in the past, and then being a captain, getting new people, like, I try to mentor them not only in the job but also in their personal lives.
Yeah, they
But
need
like,
it.
yeah, because we're all young and dumb once,
Yes.
and I'm old and dumb. Yeah, so
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but
There's a
no,
little,
but like,
little wisdom in there.
yeah, but like for me, like I tell them to just remember, don't forget who you are, don't forget what makes you you. You're a husband, a wife, if you're a guy or girl, your husband, a wife, a father, a mother, whatever. You're all these things, and this is what you do for money, and it's great, and you should excel at what you do, and you should excel in everything you do. But just remembering that is what makes you you. Your family, your beliefs, what your faith, whatever it is, that's what makes you you. And this is a part of you, but it's not who you are. And that, one of the most profound things I think I've had, one of the profound talks I've had in the fire station, came from, we had a new chief. This was years ago. Fantastic chief. He was our chief for 10 years or more. But he came in, and when he finally retired, he did uh 49 years in the fire service, something crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And he told us this story. He came around, he face to face wanted to meet everybody, went to every station on every shift, met every single person, shook their hands. He's the kind of chief that, like, knew everybody's birthday, when my birthday came, I had a birthday card in my mailbox at work, and it was handwritten from the fire chief, not like a secretary signing it or whatever. And it was always it seemed like he knew a little bit about every single person, and it was always something personalized to that person. Great guy. And he came in his very first, right when he first came, first time I really ever met the guy. I mean, I knew who he was because he was kind of like a legend in the fire service in Arizona.
I can see why.
Came in, yeah. And he came into the fire service, and he said, or in the fire station, and he said, I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to affect change, but I just wanted to tell you guys kind of a personal story, and wanted to give you guys some wisdom, some things that I've learned. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes. He's like, everybody knows that I've been in the fire service for, I think at the time it was, 40 years or whatever. He's like, I've done a lot of things. He's like, I've got a lot of accolades. I got a lot of things on my resume. I've checked all these boxes and all these things. And he's like, people have called me the fireman's fireman of a fire chief and this whole thing. And he's like, and that's all fine and dandy. He said, but he goes, don't be the guy who, when you're on your way to work in the morning and you walk by your 16-year-old daughter in the hallway, she looks at you and says, you may be a hero in the firehouse, but you're hated in your house. And he said that it was the most he's like, it stopped me in my tracks. He said, it made me cry. And immediately I knew, I was like, I'm doing this wrong. Because she said, everybody loves you, but nobody likes you here. Everybody loves you in the firehouse, but nobody likes you here. And he's like, don't let that be you. He said, and he basically said the same thing. He's like, you can be very good at this job, but you need to be better at home. And he said, like, that's what's most important. And I had like the most respect for this guy because he had 49 years or something, 47 years, close to 50 years in the fire service. And he was also married for that same amount of time. So for me, I'm like, okay, that's different.
Yes.
Because typically it's the guys that got 49 years and everybody's a hero and they have 49 wives. Yes. They got all these exes and all these things because, like she said, they chose this, and so they chose the fire service over the family. So that's what I would say is just keep your priorities straight. Being popular in the firehouse or being cool in the firehouse, it's cool, it's whatever. But this is what's important. Your family and your home life is what is really, truly important. And it's just money. I know it sounds, some people, there was a time in my life where I wasn't making as much as we're making now. I wasn't a captain. I was a brand new guy. And you hear people say, oh, it's just money. You're like, oh, it's easy for you. I'm barely living paycheck to paycheck, barely, but it's so true. Money's evil. It's a necessary evil. but don't kill yourself over it because it's not worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sorry.
That's a profound story. And that's so cool that he would share that. Because I think sometimes in leadership, people don't want to have that vulnerability of imperfection, humanity, any of that. So that's pretty powerful. Yeah. And that he obviously must have turned it around if he's still married.
Oh yeah. Yep. And when he retired too, he said, I'm just waiting for my wife to give me the thumbs up. That's what he said. And he literally did. He's like, well, she said that's enough. I'm like, okay. And he retired. And
so what advice would you give?
Kind of the same. To really learn about yourself and where your own identity lies outside of being a fire wife. And I think it's easy to fall into the trap of identifying in a negative way with other fire wives and having the mindset of for me, and how to figure out how to balance, yes, that it's a struggle, but also that, and to be able to step back and have a perspective on your whole life and how we all struggle in different ways, and as a mom and a wife. And for me, it's really a mindset thing. Not focusing on the negatives and the poor me's, but being able to focus on the positives and the benefits and the blessings, really. And like I say this all the time currently, that our life right now is, we are living the dream. Like, this is what we've always wanted, this life with the kids and being home. And it's very hard. And so yes. It's easy to fall into like it's easy to fall into just either like depression or despair, and then to feel bad about feeling depressed, and like, why would I feel sad or feel this way or feel bitter or have these feelings when this is all I ever wanted. But it comes down to, I think, perspective and a mindset change. And you know, we talk a lot about finding your community, and yes, you can find community in the Firewife community. I personally haven't found a huge community there because we don't build our life on the fire department. But you know, our community has come in the form of our family, because they're all some sort of first responder, police and fire and nurses and military. And so they can kind of relate and understand us. They can understand the crazy schedule. There's no guilt. You know, everyone can understand the anxiety and the overprotectiveness and all that. And I've personally found a lot of community in our homeschool group and all the moms. And in our church. So wherever you can find community, it's just that's where it's naturally, you know, organically happened for us. And then I know we talk a lot also about like self-care, and self-care for me, I don't know, it's probably different for everybody, but it's not like a wine and snack night. I probably get like I love my girls' night out, and I have like 2 best friends right now, and we only probably do it once every other month or so. But when we go out and hang out together, it's like 6 hours. I like block off the whole day, and he understands, like, you know, I don't feel the need right now to have it every week kind of a alone time. But it's like a once a month, once every other month, like an all day event. And I don't know, it just really fills me up, just being able to have fun or chat, or maybe we're crying or we're just talking the whole time. That is kind of self-care for me, just having some relationships that I get time with outside of this environment of home and regular life. And
absolutely,
I don't know what my advice, I guess my advice is perspective and your mindset, and realizing that you are on the same team. You're not in competition. And really learning about each other, I think, has really been helpful over the years. You know, learning why he is the way he is, why he does the things he does, and vice versa, and being able to have compassion for each other, grace for each other, and grace for ourselves. You know, I can't do it all right now. I don't need to do it all. I have to be able to learn how to let go of certain things. And you know, right now it's like I don't prioritize the house, so please nobody drop by unannounced. It's just the thing I've let go of right now.
Yes.
I just shared with her, we had a call, and I had to step out, and I, you know, have a pocket in my shirt. I probably shouldn't even say this, because whatever. I turned a video on because I was like, I gotta show Stephanie this hoarder house that we were in.
Then I sent it to her. Our house is clean compared to
I know. I was like, okay.
I sent it to her, and she goes, I feel so much better. I was like, yeah, our house is fine. Our house is lived in. It's 4 kids lived in. This is disgusting.
Well, even just hearing from him, not even seeing any video, but just hearing from him, like the amount of homes that he goes into on a daily basis, that it is so normal. Like, it is not what you see on the internet and the beautiful, pristine. That is not normal or typical at all.
No, I don't know what these people do. Actually, it's probably that section of counter is clean, and it's chaos around where the camera is not.
Exactly.
That's probably what it is.
No, I think what you said was huge, though, just about the perspective. I would just second that. Perspective is huge, and I've had to have perspective in every aspect of my life. We've had to have it in our life, not only, and just keeping balance with everything, not only just the fire service, but the Fenton stuff, with travel, with all these things, and just remembering, you know, we do all this stuff and we get to create these memories. But like, those are occasional things. Every day is the real life. And like you said, having that perspective is like, this is what we always wanted. Why are we, we already got what we wanted. You know, why are we striving for all this other stuff that comes at a cost?
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, it's like, you have to flip the script. Like, just flip the script on what it is you're saying. Okay. Well, we'll end with something funny, and then we'll do rapid fire. So what is the funniest thing that has happened on shift. You know, like they call Murphy's Law and all the things to where this is happening at home. He's gone. Guaranteed there's something.
That I'm making about this. Actually, I have a video in the chamber that I'm making about this.
Oh, there we go.
The funniest thing that's happened like to us when I've been on shift is what you're saying?
Yes.
Like in our life. Oh man.
Are you thinking of something funny or you don't know? You're smiling.
You're
thinking. I don't know.
I'm doing an ADHD stare. I'm looking at you and like there should be stuff happening, but nothing's happening. No. I'm thinking we've had flat tires, which that's not funny, but like
it's just anything that ever happens when you're on shift.
Yes. Always.
Maybe we're too soon to laugh at it kind of a thing. It's not funny yet.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of funny stuff with babies. She called me hysterically one time when our oldest was a baby. She was working full time as a nurse, and Bentley was her mom was watching him, and she went over there, got him, came home, and she's not short, but she's also not tall. And she was reaching across the car to get the carrier. Remember?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm like, this kind of stuff happens all the time. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, I have 100 stories. I don't know why you can't think of one.
I literally, I'm like on the footboard of the car and trying to pull the infant car seat out, and then I split backwards
on the rock.
And luckily, his little like handle is up because he just like
little roll bar
tumbled out of the car onto the ground, like out of the SUV.
And it was like he was just totally fine. He was hanging in there, and like, of course.
I panicked because it was my first baby ever. I was like, oh my gosh.
And the nurse brain goes out the window.
I went into like trauma activation mode. I brought him inside and I took all his clothes off for some reason. I don't know. I was like assessing him and I was fine. I was just like, until I called Brent and I broke down crying. I'm like, I just like threw our kid out of the car.
Well, what was funny was I was on shift.
Mm-hmm.
I always bring my phone. Always bring my phone when I go on a call. My phone was almost dead, so it was on the charger, and I was like, we'll be back in 5 minutes, whatever. It was a nothing call. It was like it was a nothing call. I remember it was. But anyway, I get back and I've got like 45 missed calls and text me, call me right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I call him.
Somebody's dying.
I was like, is everybody okay? She's like, yes. It's like, okay.
Literally nobody's injured, but I just got really scared.
I was like, you're fine. He's fine. It's okay.
I would say the new parent age of our relationship, there was a lot of that kind of stuff. Just like being a brand new mom, alone, trying to survive. Often. Abby and the other kid rolled off the couch and broke her collarbone in a power outage. I
was on shift on
that. He was on shift. Yeah.
Yeah, they're always gone. So it makes it seem like we are not good parents.
Not a good. Yeah. All the injuries happen when he's gone.
I've had to leave plenty of time and go to an ER or do whatever.
Yes.
Like our other kid's tooth went through his lip, and tooth went through he was like a boom boom kind of thing. Tooth through the lip, rips his head open on the ground.
And head injuries is so just blood everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, so much blood. I'm like, always.
Yeah, it's always that. Yeah, her mom hit an elk one time when I was on shift. She was also working that day too. Remember that? Yeah. I left her a voicemail. Hey, don't freak out. Your mom's good. She did hit an elk.
Were you?
When I got in the car,
you the one on like this on the scene?
No. Her mom, for whatever reason, it's because your dad was deployed. Her dad was deployed.
Oh, she called you.
So she called me. And yeah, her dad was in Afghanistan, I think, at the time. And so she called me and was like, hey, Brent. She's like, I'm in Happy Jack, which is a couple hours north in the mountains. And she's like, I hit an elk. And I'm like, wait, what? Are you good? She's like, I'm totally fine, whatever, And it's like, okay. And she's like, do you want to call Stephanie and this and that? Okay. And so, I'm trying to think what's the best way to frame this. Hey, babe, hope you're having a good day at work. Everything's fine. Just talk to your mom. She's good. She's totally fine. She didn't elk. But we're,
Yeah. Tons of those little stories.
Yeah, we haven't really. Oh, I did have to leave shift one time and bring home a gas meter.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I left the stove on or something.
All day.
So I just did another one, and that's what they said. It was like all day. He came home off shift, smelled like gas, thought it was going to blow up. Okay, so you guys did the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm a hazmat tech, and I was at the hazmat station. I went to my cap. I was like, "Hey, Cap,
can I borrow that meter?"
like, I don't want to turn this into a full-fledged hazardous assignment, but can I just grab the 5-gas meter and run home real quick? And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "But if it's something, please." He goes, one, he said, "If it's something," he's like, "Please call 911, and two, please don't be there with a meter and in uniform." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll leave. I will leave." It's like, yeah. So went there and just opened up the whole. I told her, I was like, "Take Bentley, leave, go to the park, do whatever." It was at nighttime too. Like, just go hang out somewhere.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Always night, and they're never here.
Yes. We just get real clever and we get real ingenuitive.
Yeah.
When they are not here. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up with rapid fire questions. So, what is your favorite way to drink coffee for each of you? Well, and we should talk about coffee because you have a coffee business. Totally forgot about that.
She's gonna sell me out here.
No, I was gonna talk about myself. I really like putting those like little mushroom powders in it with collagen lately.
Yes.
That's
so
my fave.
I have a mushroom powder. Yes. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let him speak for himself.
I don't.
Do you not drink
I
coffee?
don't know. I'm just more of a black coffee guy.
Oh yeah, okay. Creamer, a little bit of coffee. That's how he does it.
I do like creamer. I don't necessarily know what the mushrooms do, but I'll mix it in my coffee too.
They're so good.
I bring home all the things for him and tell him, just take this. Just
That's
don't
the only way I'll take
just
mushrooms.
Put this in your body. Yeah.
I hate mushrooms. That's the only way I'll do mushrooms.
But they're so good. Like there's even research studies of like cancer and all the different. It's so good. I don't want to make any claims, so I'm gonna shut up. A lot of goodness.
Yeah, me personally, I do like. Well, it's funny. We're coming in. Well, eventually we'll come into a cooler season. It says it's fall, but right now it's 106 outside.
It's gone up in the 45 minutes we've been talking.
Now it's 106 and it's October 4th. But I don't know. I like coffee warm and cold, but like, yeah, I'll get a creamer, a little whipped cream on top. Yeah.
Now, do you
wait?
Still
just real
that?
quick.
Yes.
Now I see.
Just real quick. Here's a secret not everybody knows, but he hated coffee and wouldn't drink it before he started working for this coffee company because of some childhood trauma of having to drink black coffee with his dad to treat his ADHD every day as a kid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, no, for real. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a the early Fenton years. That's why I always tell people. I was like, it's character building years. That's probably, I had red hair, freckles, glasses, ADHD. I have Tourette syndrome. Also, not very few people know that, but I do have Tourette syndrome.
Well, now a few more will know.
Yeah. So yeah, just all these things. But yeah, when I was a kid, they tried Ritalin, and like my teacher sent me home with a note and was like, "Whatever you did, stop it." He was 1,000 times worse. And so they gave me some other medication. It was like a new trial stuff, and they did that, and it actually worked, but it was a small supply. So then they're like, "Well, until that medication comes in, for 6 months, you need to drink 2 cups of black coffee in the morning."
That's so much.
Yeah, before adolescence, caffeine is a downer. So I would just be sitting there with my dad, like, drinking and hating every second of it. And so anytime I'd have that, I mean, if I drink black coffee, like, I don't do it often.
These are rapid fire questions.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's okay. Every human on this podcast has had to say that. Like, oh, these are rapid fire. And I'm like, I should just stop calling them that.
All that to say.
He didn't have his coffee yet today,
all that to say, black coffee is still a little like, a little flashback when I have it. So creamer, healthy amount of heavy-handed
mushrooms
creamer.
In there to counteract the creamer.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, do you guys prefer the beach or mountains?
We just talked about this. We'll say mountains for now because we have small children with a lot of sand.
Yeah.
I love the forest and camping and hunting, and I do love the beach, but with kids, I love the beach. If it's her and I,
Yes, the beach.
If we could have like, like Northern California or Oregon, like where the mountains meet the beach,
Yes.
best of both worlds, but with children.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Who's messier?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I got a lot of started tasks and then forget.
Yes.
What am I doing? Oh yeah. And I see remnants of where I've been all around the house.
Little breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Early morning or late night?
Late night.
Late night.
Well, at least you're the same.
Yeah.
I've been starting to enjoy earlier mornings more, but I still like nights better than.
And you do the cold plunge in the morning then?
I do it.
Whenever it happens.
I'm not scheduled at all. You got to experience trying to schedule this.
Yes.
And that's just that's a metaphor for my life. Everything.
I came up and I messaged your wife.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Okay.
There's a lot of people in this world that probably think I'm a jerk and blew them off. And that's not the case at all. I just probably forgot.
That's
strengths and weaknesses. Okay.
Yes, exactly. You can't be perfect at everything. That would be boring. Okay. Last one, which may not be rapid fire, having talked to both of you, but we're going to try. What is the best advice you've ever been given in life? Does not have to be fire related.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
I always think to the baby years. That's where I was always seeking advice. Don't ever wake a sleeping baby.
100%. Yes.
I have carried that through my life. I don't wake up anybody ever. I think that's why we like to homeschool.
Yes.
Like sleep. Our lives revolve around sleep. When we can get it, and if we can get enough of it, sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm trying to think the best advice that I've ever gotten. My dad's given me some good advice. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I think it's weird, but it came from my dad has said it in a roundabout way, probably not as polished. He's a Fenton, I'm a Fenton, so he's the OG funny Fenton. But I think the best thing that the best advice that I got in general for like life is the best gift that you can give your kids is a healthy relationship with their mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like before we got married, we did premarital counseling, and we had this amazing couple. We're still friends with them, but they were like our mentors, and Kurt married us and everything like that. And I just remember, she remembers it too. Like we were having this, we're talking about, we're just doing marriage counseling, talking about all these different things, and I'm like, gosh, this feels like a freaking Brent counseling session. And he's like, that's because it is. And I was like, what? And he said there was two things. He's like, the best gift that you can give your kids is a healthy relationship with their mother. And he also said, if there's a problem in your marriage, it's your problem. And I was like, just true. And I think that's hard for a lot of guys to hear, like even if it's 100% something going on with her, it's my problem. And the worst advice I think I've heard in regards to marriage is that marriage is 50-50, because it's not. It's 100-100.
Yes.
There's a clip floating around the internet, and it's some marriage guru lady, whatever, and she's like, we come in the house, and I tell my husband, I'm at a 20%, so I need you to be an 80. Or he's like, babe, I'm at a 10%, you need to be a 90. And it's like, sorry, that's not how life works. That's crap. I'm sorry. In my opinion, it is 100%. Because I'm also thinking, like, and in terms of leadership, as a father, as a husband, and as a profession, you're always leading. You're never standing still. You're either going where you want to go, or you're going where you don't want to go. You don't get the luxury of pausing in leadership as a spiritual leader, as a husband, as a father, as a professional. If you're pausing, you're going the way you don't want to go, but you're always leading somewhere, whether it's good or bad, you're going somewhere. My kids are always watching me when I'm not always happy dad. and I get angry or I snap or, something stupid makes me upset and, I drop an F-bomb or something like that. And they're right there. Their little eyes and ears are open and they're watching me. And that is leading them in a direction I don't want them to go. And I just have to constantly remember, like, I'm either going where I don't want to go or going where I do want to go.
That is excellent advice. So thank you both for taking the time, for scheduling it, for answering the message. I think that this is going to help a lot of people and that this is going to get just the stuff we don't talk about very often out there.
And that's a wrap on our first 2-part interview with Firefighter Fenton and his wife, Stephanie. If you enjoyed this, please share it with the people that you know in the fire service or any other first responder world that could really benefit from these lessons. And as always, follow so you don't miss an episode, leave a review. All of those things are so, so helpful and just help us spread the word. Thanks again. Thank you for listening to Just a Girl and Her Firefighter. It would mean the world to us to have you subscribe, share with all the people you love, and join us in our Firewife community. Thanks again, and see you next time.